month in Asia, and we have people from all over the world joining today. And the goal of this network is to bring visibility to supervision to Asia, particularly give an opportunity to supervisors and coaches in Asia to have a space to meet and learn together. And everybody else who can attend, the morning time of Asia is joining. Like Lian, welcome. Great seeing you here.
Liam, where are you? Because I just learned lately that you are in Berkeley from time to time. So where are you now?
I am. I'm in Albany near Berkeley.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're not far from each other, aren't you, Inga?
If this the Berkeley in California, yes, we're not far from each other. Yeah. So yeah, we need to grab coffee one day. Honestly, it is really, really close. Yeah.
It's much closer than Singapore or India. Like we have here some participants, Gerard in Uruguay. So welcome everybody. And I want to invite also everybody who's here today to be presenters. This is a community. We all learn from each other. So I want to encourage people to choose a topic that you feel comfortable. It's mainly on supervision. Most of the target of this community are supervisors and coaches too, but the focus is on supervision issues. So all of the supervisors who are here want to encourage you to participate and to present. And waiting for Lian to tell me. She will be presenting next month. She needs to confirm, but I need to send my newsletter, so I need a response soon. But I want to invite everyone here to be presenters. So if you have any topic of any idea that you would like to present, will you send me an email so we can put you in the calendar for the year? And one more announcement before we get into the work with Inga is that the American Coaching Supervision Network is organizing a conference coming up April 19th and 20th. Liam and Lily are coordinating that conference. It's the 7th. This time I am a presenter. I am not one of the organizers. So Liam, do you want to invite people since we have you here? So people, it's not great. It's not great for the time in Asia though, but for people who are still interested in coming part of it and then watching the recording, that's a possibility.
Yes, it isn't a very good time for Asia, but it is from 7:30 till 6:30 Pacific time on Friday and 7:30 till 5:30 on Saturday. So there will be a possibility to get some of the events. There is a guest speaker, John Whittingham, who does systemic constellations. Some of you know him. I see some of you nodding. He's doing a morning workshop. And Claire Breeze, who's a Buddhist nun, she's doing a workshop. And then there are lots of other people from doing different workshops. So the theme is wisdom of non-duality, and it's all about how do we use the wisdom of the non-dual, of the fact that we're all one, to help us as we face into these difficult times. So it'll be very rich. So we'd love you to come or watch the recordings. I'll put the link in the chat.
Great, thank you.
I would recommend to be there as well. That will be my 4th, I think. When you started doing virtually, I started participating. These conferences are always wonderful. And especially, I guess, John Whittington, he taught me a long time ago constellations. And unfortunately, he remembered me because of a second training with him, I was crying all day. I don't know if you ever did constellation work, but somehow it affected me to the core. And I was crying all day from morning till the afternoon and doing the work, of course. Yeah. So be ready to have a powerful session with him. Yeah.
So let me briefly, Inga, who is going to be presenting today, she's a master certified coach. She's a trained coach supervisor and group supervisor. She already shared with you that she has done constellations work, psychodrama work. I learned recently that she also took some acting classes.
My first degree is drama. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to be a theater director a long time ago. After 2 weeks working in a theater, I learned that that's not for me. But
And I learned that in her session on psychodrama that is available in YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and put Inga Bielinska, her name, psychodrama, you will be able to find it. It's also in our website for the American Coaching Supervision Network, and also in my YouTube channel. So there are different places where you can find it. So welcome, Inga. Thank you for being here. What else would you like people to know about you?
I would like you to know that I'm okay with interrupting me. And I would actually encourage you to interrupt me because we've got an hour, yeah, like till like the
like 50 minutes now, yes.
Yeah, okay, less than 15 minutes. But I really wanted to show you something to almost like spread the virus of sociometry with you. And what I'm going to show is honestly the tip of the iceberg. So there will be a lot of, I think, shortcuts as well sometimes, because I want to show something which is applicable, something which you can take and immediately start doing in your group supervision or in your team coaching or group coaching if you work with groups. That's why I focused more on looking at some simple tools we can apply instead of, talking about the theory. But please feel free to interrupt me. Because the body of work around sociometry, and this is one of the triad of psychodrama, sociometry, and group therapy, that's the triad invented or created by Jacob Moreno, and I'm going to talk about him a lot today. So it's the part of the really big body of work. And constellations actually were derived from that as well. And group therapy was derived from that. So this is like the foundation of everything. Just 2 shelves behind me are dedicated just to psychodrama. So, we honestly just going to touch a little bit of sociometry per se. I will be sharing the presentation with you, and I can make this presentation available as well. So maybe I will start sharing the screen, because if we already don't know each other, let me go to the presenter view so I can put you in a space where I can see you somehow. If we don't know each other yet and you have some questions, or some questions show up, or you would like to get some extra resources, that's the QR code to my LinkedIn profile. Please connect with me and ask whatever questions you want, yeah? Because I want to be sure that we just on the surface of that. And I feel that sociometry is a little bit forgotten, but it might be extremely useful, as I said, for group coaches, group supervisors, and team coaches as well. I'm going to focus, of course, on the group supervision today, because that's the network of supervisors. At the same time, have it at the back of your mind that you can use it in many different places. So when I ask myself, what do mostly happen during group supervision? I usually think about the models which are the most common, that participants bring cases. They bring cases and we discuss cases in a different way, sometimes in a more direct way, sometimes in a more collaborative manner, but there are cases. And I sometimes feel that focusing solely on cases, it's a little bit missed opportunity for growth, because there is a lot of material here and now in a group dynamic itself. Of course, when we look at the parallel processes and so on, we investigate this group dynamic. However, the work of this man, Jacob Levi Moreno, or how he would probably pronounce his name, Jacob Levi Moreno, is something which we can take and experiment a little bit more, just to take advantage fully of what's going on in the group, because there is a lot of material for coaches to grow just in the being with other coaches. And supervision, group supervision, might be a wonderful space without even looking into cases, just to see who am I, what is the role, what I'm bringing to the space, what's going on with me in this space. Okay, so that's the premise here, that maybe, of course, we need to discuss cases because that's the space for supervision, but maybe we can add a little bit of more sociometric tools just to take advantage of here and now. And what is sociometry? Moreno defined it in 1953. By the way, he started his work in 20s, so long before this definition was available. he said that sociometry is defined as the study of group dynamics, the evolution of groups, and the network of relationships within groups. And he had very mystical approach to sociometry. In some of his work, he even said that we exist as the mankind or humankind is because of the sociometry. Because it is about the relationships, how we evolved together, how we lived in a group, how we survived together. And that's all, like, he was very mystical in his writing. You know, anecdote about Jakub Moreno was that he published first 7 books under pseudonym. He didn't sign them because he was a pretty controversial figure. He was criticizing a lot the therapeutic approach, which was very well known and established at the time. So Jungian approach was against it. He said that it was too individualistic. It didn't take the group, the social into connection, and just it was too much in the head. Analysis, you know, like dream analysis, was too intellectualized. And he talked about it aloud. So he was afraid that his work around triad, psychodrama, sociometry, and group therapy, because he invented those against analysis, like let's do something as a group, let's experience something, let's be together, his criticism was so loud that he was afraid that people will be, you know, not accepting of his work. That's why he published this work under pseudonym. First 7 books. So it was separated from him. And you can see him here as a very lively figure. And he was apparently very lively. It's interesting to read his biography as well. And the body of his work is so robust that I say it again, that's what we're going to look into is just the tip. It's not even, I'm not going to cover the whole sociometry here because it's impossible. When he was considering sociometry, he was thinking about how it is the missing link between psychology and sociology, how it is a missing, like how it impacts our brain. Like he actually felt that sociometry, how we are in a relationship, hidden dynamics between people, it impacts the growth of our brain. So he was very much interested in biology, in mysticism, in social ecology, the group dynamic. He was interested in everything. So the work is really, really robust. Nowadays, the group which uses it the most is actually social work. So if you really want to read something interesting about sociometry, social work and sociometry are usually the best sources to look into, and we can easily translate the tools they recommend to team coaching or group supervision. It's honestly very easily translated. We probably, I will show you a few adaptations I did myself, so we didn't get to therapeutic work because both team coaching and group supervision is not therapy. And very often the Moreno's work offers the therapeutic work, yeah, because he believed that encounter, meeting with another person, like a true meeting, like you almost get into somebody's head is therapeutic for the person. So let's maybe look at the ABC of sociometry, okay? So I already said that it is this triadic system, and it is a foundation of his work. It's sociometry, psychodrama, and group psychotherapy. And it was done against analytic approach to individualistic approach to psychotherapy, like Freudian and Jungian method. Yeah, he said, no, let's get out of our heads, let's experience something. That's why dramatic, let's act something out together. Okay, and he believed that during psychodrama therapy, a person worked through conflicts and traumas of the past by acting out parts of these experiences with the help of the group, of course. There are other people who I can appoint as my, you know, as my doubles, as actors, could be mirrors for me, and they can act out something for me, and I can relive it and get a new meaning out of it and interpret it in a meaningful way. That's why a lot of work with initiated by Moreno is you can find as well in trauma-informed coaching today. Of course, very often sources are hidden, like, this is knowledge belonging to everybody. Very often when I read something, I see the connection. I know that he was the first one because he started in 20s, but people very often don't quote him because they don't even realize, that constellation is actually derived precise from psychodrama. That psychodrama was first at the time. So his definition is sociometry is defined as the study of group dynamics, the evolution of group, and the network of relationship within groups. So this Moreno sociometric system offers the theory of society, interpersonal relationships, different research methods, how we study them, to show something about us in the relationship to others. And I think that it is useful for supervisors. But I'm curious, what do you think? From your perspective, how we can take advantage of understanding, for example, evolution of groups? How might it be helpful for us as the group supervisors? Linda.
Yeah, well, working with groups, how the group that we are together with in supervision, how they evolve, and observing if it's evolving in a typical way or what the impacts are from different people's experiences, their personalities that they bring, their way of being in the group, to understand that as the facilitator of the supervision would be a great asset to a supervisor.
I think that we have the image of some kind of normative ways of how groups evolve, yeah? And there are a lot of, as well, I think, pretty robust body of work around that. Even, the norming, storming, forming thing, which it is a little bit criticized nowadays, that not every group has to evolve in the way. It shows you some norms. Like, we expect that at the beginning, people probably will be, assertiveness will be less important than politeness, because belonging will be more important for us than getting our way, because it's just the forming. We don't know each other. We just want to make a good impression on, these are some basic things we can notice in the group formation. And if it doesn't happen so much in the way we would expect, it tells us something about the process. And we can use it as a supervisors as well. Yeah, there's another very good model which was developed is Schindler's model, that you've got omegas all the time, and you've got gammas and deltas and betas and alphas, for example, and certain behaviors expected there. Yes, Suman, I can see your hand.
Yeah, I feel the subconscious material in the group kind of could reflect on what's going on in the system in the case. So there is a parallel going on there.
Exactly. Yes, I think that it can help us to decipher parallel processes as well, everything what we're looking for. And I know that Moreno didn't use, by the way, I put some keywords here. He didn't use the word parallel process in his work, but he used the concept of tele. And it is this kind of connection between people which shows us something immediately about the bigger system. So we can have some dynamic tele happening here on the stage or here in the dynamic of this group, and it tells us something bigger about the system, what's going on with the person. Yeah. So understanding, first of all, that there is this dynamic, that there are some rules. And if this group I'm working with evolves a little bit differently, what does it tell us about, certain hidden powers there, or what these people bring to the group supervision as well? It's a very informative process. So generally, I get curious myself whenever I work with a group supervision and I use sociometric tools. I get curious about how is this group different or similar, or how it evolves. What are the patterns which show up there? However, the intellectual observation is not enough. And that's why Moreno come up with the set of tools. And as you can see, he was like, I'm going to show you some tools. People who were present at my talk about the supervision saw, I think, 3 of them. I'm going to show you more tools today. He was very much the person of his time, because even in the description of the tools, he used the language which was present there, yeah, because he called a lot of things he did atoms. You know, I think it was like 20s, the beginning of the 20th century, all this physics things were happening, and that's why he looked at the certain things which happened in between people, like we are the atoms, we're building something together, which is fascinating. Yeah, nobody is using these terms right now. What is important, however, for me, whenever I use either psychodrama or sociometry, because you can use them separately, is make sure that I am transparent about that with people. So both in team coaching, group coaching, and group supervision, I am very honest that I will be using some of these tools. And I check with the group how they feel it, even in the space of individual contracting, when we invite people to the group and we have the conversation, the one-on-one interview, just to see if the person is ready to be in this group, if they are interested in this group, and so on. Because for some people, they might be a little bit out there. Like not everybody is ready to do constellations, for example. Well, I'm okay with that. Yeah, it is perfectly fine, and it is okay not to, for example, feel that something like encounter and tele exists. Yeah, with encounter is meeting with another person, like true meeting with another person, that you not only face to face, as Moreno said, but it almost like you tear somebody's eyes out, and you tear yours, and you exchange eyes. Yeah, he had very dramatic metaphors there, that you really see with this person's eyes. That's why we use all of the tools with embodiment. So we've got this true encounter. And not everybody might be okay with it. So that's why this part, contracting, is very important, because we're going to look at the hidden dynamics there. Okay, so first step, because of all tele and because of encounter, that this is a little bit on the verge of mysticism sometime. I would say for some people, it could be the mysticism. We need to talk about it, okay? Not all sociometric tools are so deep and they get to such a deep level. We actually can start with something very simple. Because what is sociometry, really? It's understanding who I am in this group, or who I am in any groups I exist, any systems. Well, when we think about the 7-eyed model, there's a system I belong to as well. So I can think like, what are the roles I'm taking on? And the simplest tool we use in psychometry is actually the role atom. The simplest tool we can use. The role atom, sometimes it's called the role diagram, and it shows us major roles that we hold in our lives. And sometimes before the first session, I pre-invite people who sign up and are okay with that we are going to use psychometric tools as well. So they prepare this kind of picture or role atom of themselves, show us in terms of them as coaches, what are different roles or personas they activate there. And sometimes, it's me and it's me and I am team coach, I'm individual, like life coach and business coach. Like sometimes there are titles, but sometimes people do it a little bit differently. Okay, so you can invite as a supervisor, even before the first session, if you contracted in the individual interviews, people to actually prepare the role atom of themselves and have a session around that. Like, who are we? What are we going to bring to this space? We sign up to be together for some time, like for at least half a year. We're going to meet regularly. So let's talk about it, what we can expect from each other. And this is a pretty safe exercise. And I show you a few variations of that, like one variation, because it was kind of funny variation. I have a privilege to have a very nice garden here. And the weather most of the time is great. And I have a steady group for 2 years of 4 coaches. And most of the time we meet face to face, but we agreed to meet 3 times. Sorry, most of the time we meet virtually, but we agreed to meet 3 times face to face in my garden. And I'm a collector of different shells and stones and so on, so on. So I use this stuff. I've got plenty of stuff. And my husband told me that park rangers will arrest me one day because I shouldn't be collecting these things. But this is recorded, so I'm not collecting it in national parks, of course. I'm just collecting it on legal things somehow. But I've got a lot of stones. And some people did it like this. So they actually use this is my garden, one of the tables I've got on my garden, and they try to use different stones or different shells to show their roles, and it all had a meaning somehow for them. So we like, it was very nice because it was as well getting out of our head. The stones get meaning somehow. It is meaningful that this is actually in the middle, that's obsidian, for example. And that's the shell which is partially damaged, but it's beautifully smoothed. I remember the story behind it, what it meant to the person. So you can actually use whatever you want. However, for the first session, honestly, I recommend to ask people to do it beforehand. And they can either, do it virtually, or they can do it on the piece of paper and just show it to the camera if you do it virtually. It is doable. And it is a different way of getting to know each other and contracting after this kind of creating of the role atom. It's different because you hear some stories about these people, about their coaching experiences. You hear some things about how they define themselves. And then we can ask, okay, so we listened to all of this. And there are certain strengths and definitely certain challenges we're going to bring to this group. So what kind of contract do we have to build here collaboratively in order to accommodate all of this richness of strength and opportunities and challenges? And I can tell you that after this introduction, contracting is on a different level. And people are amazing in creating their pictures. I remember honestly one person creating this role atom with pictures, with different pictures of himself in a different setting. It was amazing, yeah, somehow, and every picture got a meaning, yeah. So you can play however you want to play with it. Yeah. Social atom is about the different roles as well. And that's how I use, when we moved here, my daughter was 10 and we brought a lot of Playmobil figures. Playmobil is, I think, is some kind of small competition in Europe to Lego, teeny tiny, and they got a lot of figurines. My daughter is very female, so all these figurines are very like, princesses or fairies and so on. And sometimes it is funny when I ask people to use these figurines to present their roles, because they actually apply the meaning to it, yeah? Like why this princess of this fairy or this figurine can represent me. So you can use whatever you want. I would feel that Lily's magic box might be as well easily used to create the social atoms, so me and my social roles, or me and my role atom as, for example, as a coach. Yeah, you can use various tools. And it is interesting to do it at the beginning before contracting, but as well it is interesting to do it in the middle of the process, just to see probably what changed. How this, I expected that would be some roles which will activate here, or maybe I already grow somehow, or I noticed something deeper or bigger in me somehow, yeah, or new kind of persona I'm activating. Okay, so that's how I would encourage you to think where you can put these atoms at play in group supervision, just for the benefit of the group growth. So now let's go to the higher level. because that's one person drawing themselves or assigning different roles to themselves. But we've got this group of people there, this one unit, and they interact with each other somehow. And this is really interesting how they interact with each other. It's interesting who resonates with whose cases all the time, or who is saying like, oh, okay, Damian, I do agree with you. I have like the same, who disagree with each other, who is the most or the least active. And that's a really interesting tool, which I called creating the sociogram to find who is a sociometric star. And this is a little bit more complex work, because that's something I usually do when we work. I try to draw for myself for every session if I start to notice certain patterns, because sociometry shows us the hidden patterns which develop in this group. So, and after some time, I can create this kind of visual representation of the group, just seeing who is the most, quoted, or who is the most resonant to others, and notice this a little bit. And what makes it important? Because if something is different, that's probably the message for you that parallel process is at play. So we've got a certain pattern that this person is very talkative normally, or this person is very quiet normally, because you've been doing this sociogrammic stars for some time. And suddenly something is different. That's the message. And because you do this observation as a supervisor, you might comment on that and ask participants as well how they feel about it, what's going on. Usually this is the pattern. What is different today? And how it might relate to the case. Every change is the information. Because honestly, you could be surprised. I do of course, if there is a contracting that we can do it both for team coaching and for group coaching and for group supervision, I do sociogrammic stars all the time. And teams are very predictable. They honestly develop certain ways of behavior, and they repeat it from, it's almost like at school, kids at school having their favorite place to sit. And they love it, go towards this place all the time. And groups are very, very predictable long term, even though we think that we are unique. So every change there, it's a piece of information. If Jacob Moreno was here, he would be more interested in the sociodynamic effect. And sociodynamic effect is something therapists use. And that's the case, which I always say, that's not for team coaching so much, and that's not for group supervision, because that's a therapeutic thing. So what is sociodynamic effect is showing certain problems in every group, that some people are overrepresented as some people are isolated and underrepresented. And every group develops that. It might be important for team coaching if we can talk about it in a safe way, and the team is already mature and used to you. That's great. But with a group supervision, I don't use it so much, because we are not here to offer therapy to each other. It's a different thing, yeah? Like, I use it only just to notice the difference in the system. And that's what I would encourage you, not just to say like you always, Leanne, always when you speak, nobody responds to you. How it is possible? What do you notice about that? Yeah, because, social workers, of course, talk about it sometimes. Therapists, especially when they work in a group therapy, they make this kind of comments. It's very common in psychodrama, but I wouldn't recommend it, because that's not a therapeutic work here. So we use this to notice the difference, to observe parallel process. Like usually it looked like that, but today is different. How does it relate to the case? Okay, so these are all atomic works. atomic about roles, atomic about how the group builds their relation, how they communicate with each other, who is a sociometric start, who is not. But let's go to the another very simple tool we can use. And this is spectrograms. Spectrograms are the best used in a physical space. But the problem is that, I don't know about you, 90% of my group supervision is done virtually right now. So I will show you how I adapted it, spectrograms. And you will see some of these tools and they will resonate with you. And I'm pretty sure that you've seen them somewhere. So spectrograms are based on the scale. And scale could be very simple, like how familiar are you with the group supervision? So let me see if we have, annotation is enabled here. So if you can use annotate right now, if it works for you. Yes, and you can use annotate, and you can just put a simple, cross somewhere. Let's say, let me go to the annotate. Yeah, I could, for example, say that I am here, meaning 100%. I'm very familiar with group supervision. Damian taught me group supervision. I've been running group supervision by myself. I'm participating with the group supervision. So I'm putting myself here. So you can invite everybody in the group to use annotate and put whatever question is out there.
Can you, Inga, can you tell people who are not familiar with annotate how to do it?
Oh yeah, of course I can. I can let you know. So when you scroll up to the Zoom, you can see that Inga is sharing the screen right now, and you can have drop-down menu there when you click this, and you can see annotate button. That's one option, and when you click it, you should see the pen. Yeah, I can see people just being able to play with it right now. Some people just see the pen, like a circle with a green pen in the top. This is left corner of the screen. They could see annotate there as well. So all options are. So you can, if you work physically with people, think about one wall and the other wall. First session, you can ask people, so how familiar are you with a group supervision? Put yourself somewhere on the scale. That's a basic sociogram, how we can create that. If you do it virtually, you can use it with annotate, or you can do it, you can ask people, for example, to put their initials. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that we just do the sign. You can write like here, that's my initial. So we know where we are somehow. And of course, we're going to look at it later and as well think, okay, so knowing that we have the spread of familiarity with the group supervision, what do we need to agree on in this group? So it is some kind of information for us. Let me just, I know that it's fun to play with it, but let me clear these drawings a little bit and show you, okay, close annotate here, and show you a second element. Sometimes when you've got just two cases, it's only work for two cases. When you have more cases, I have a different tool to show you. It's called step-in sociogram. But if you have two cases, like two people said, I've got a case, usually it's problematic to pick up this case democratically. And for me, it took a long time how to decide what case we're going to discuss and why this one and so on. And actually, this kind of stenograms are very easy here. So we say that if you feel that 100% you're close to case one, who somebody just presented, put your cross or initial closer to this one. If you are closer to case two, put closer to the case two. Some people might put it in the middle, and of course we got pickle then, how to sort it out. But usually it shows us where the energy is going. If you don't feel comfortable with technology, let me just maybe stop sharing for a second. So I will just leave here and stop sharing because I want to show you something. If you don't feel comfortable with technology, like explaining annotate or using a Miro board and so on, we've got the space here as well. And I usually check in with people. Is it comfortable for you to stand up? Is it comfortable for you to move your hands? Is it comfortable for you to move your chair? Yeah. And you can ask people, okay, so try to use your chair and locate yourself a little bit like this side, it will be closer to the case 1. This side will be closer to the case 2. And then, move yourself a little bit. And sometimes people do this. And what does it tell you? Oh, Gerardo, you say something. I noticed that you say something. No, you didn't? Oh.
They
Yes.
are absolutely outside of a thing. They don't want to participate.
Yeah, they're not interested. In any case, resonate with them. So it gives them as well the freedom a little bit. I feel that the tools give people freedom to talk a little bit about how to space themselves. And sometimes I even use this tool, like if I'm worried that people have a hard time in moving themselves, just use your body and show us how interested you are in the case number 1. And people do strange things as well with their body. And then we interpreted it somehow. But it's getting out of our head, because that's what Jakub Morena was advocating. Let's get out of our head and let's just embody how we feel here. Frederic, unmute yourself and just share. I would encourage you to share.
With I was writing while you said it's just, I see so many people going to learning and they're all in their head, but they embody absolutely nothing of the learning. Well, this is the way to really bring ourselves as an instrument completely.
And I think we can
I have a feeling.
Yeah, and we can use this. For me, it was discovery, because it took me 2 years to think how to translate psychodrama and sociometry to virtual sessions. Because my training, I was trained in my psychotherapeutic school. It took 5 years. It was a really long training with, all learning and self-group and so on, so on. And everything was done face-to-face with 2 psychodramatists who were, protecting the space and so on, so on. And there were a lot of tools. We used some colorful scarves to represent something. Like, in Sociometry, you've got plenty of different tools, which are more about physicality somehow, that you do it more with your body. And I was thinking like, oh my God, how to translate it? And you can play in so many different ways. You can, for example, ask people to play with your background a little bit. Or, you can use colors in your background. You can use, you can use even the corners of your screen. Like everything is possible. We don't have to be fluent at technology in order to do it.
Then we're connecting much more so about it. We don't realize how much our environment impacts us all the time. So everything becomes part of our experience.
However, sometimes we had a bigger problem, because like everybody in the room has a case and everybody wants to, discuss this case. So the spectrogram, which is always 2 things, because that's the idea of the spectrogram, that we've got one end and the other end. Then what comes handy, we call it step-in tools. And step-in sociometry, as you can imagine, it was connected with a space, with a prompt, and people were stepping in a space and they were discussing somehow the prompt, yeah? And I actually used it even today, because I was running a group supervision for ICF chapter in Washington. And I was really, really happy to see that everybody got a case and people wanted to discuss it. So let me go back to my screen a little bit. Here. And I just very simply, I grabbed actually the Miro board because I didn't have a presentation, and I used the step-in sociometry. Of course, it was a virtual step-in, and I just draw the circles. And I ask people, like mark your initials. It's important initials in a certain circle where you feel that you would like to discuss this case. But with step-in sociometry, we need to as well talk about our choices. So is the spectrogram is for, I would say, democratic, quite fast choosing of something. Here we discuss a little bit. What make you stand in this circle? Yeah, and the person could like draw the initial in case 1 or case 4 and so on and so on. And again, people can put themselves out of the circles and say like, I don't want to discuss anything today. I just want to be, observer. and then we can think how to make that happen. Yeah. However, the step-in sociograms are not only useful for that, and I would encourage you to play a little bit, because I thought about the prompts, because generally the idea is that we've got prompt inside. And let's imagine that I created a sociogram right now here with this, why are you here today? And we've got 4 prompts, yeah? Like one prompt is, I wanted to experiment. Yeah, I don't know anything about the sociometry, so I'm here because I want to experiment. Somebody could say, no, I always participate in this Asian coaching supervisors network. I'm always here. That's my habit. That's why I'm here today. Or somebody could say, I already know a lot about this topic and I want to talk about it with others. And I'm really curious about that. And some people might say other idea. And again, you could use annotate and you could put yourself in these 4 different spaces, which is the closest to you. And we could have very lively conversation about that as well. So about the purpose, why you are here. So now I will have a small task for you. Not connected with annotate, don't worry about that. I would encourage you to think, okay, you've got 4 spaces ready. What prompts would you prepare if you want to use the sociometric step-in tool? What prompts can you prepare for the first session? Prompt has to be some kind of statement or a sentence or a, or opinion or like something. What kind of prompts can we prepare for the first session of the group that's going to meet on a regular basis? Let's just have 4 prompts. That's the safe number. What ideas do you have? You're seeing each other for the first time. You're building this group together. What kind of prompts could we use here?
No,
Linda, I saw you unmuting yourself a few seconds ago, so go.
Yeah, so Inga, it seems like just an obvious one would be 4 different questions about your experience in supervision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be. I've been with the groups before, or I'm a coach and supervisor myself. I have never been in a group supervision before. And yeah, like think about the level of engagement. What else?
What you want to learn.
Yeah, readiness to learn or readiness to be challenged here as well. That's a good one as well. So, our familiarity with the topic, our readiness to learn. What other prompts could we prepare for people for the first session?
Inga, that reminded me an exercise that I do in the first sessions of my programs in general. I don't know how many of you have seen that, where I bring a prompt and I ask, if you identify with that, turn on your camera. So everybody turn off their camera.
Mm-hmm.
So turn on your camera if,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, you were born in the United States, turn on your camera. If you were born outside the United States, turn on your camera. So it's another way turning on and off
that's a sociometric tool, Damian, as well. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's just sitting and standing. In reality, it will be done. People who are like this, stand up.
Yeah.
And you do the camera off. I remember when I saw it first time, when you did it actually at the conference. And I thought like, yeah, Damian knows sociometry. Because
that's another way to do it in person. Is having everybody and say, instead of standing up or sitting, is if you are everybody standing up, walk in front of you 3 steps to the front. And sometimes you do that for diversity things, to bring awareness of diversity issues that maybe are invisible, that you cannot see. So if you wouldn't ask that, people may not know. For example, sexual orientation has to be one of them.
yeah, if you feel that that's a safe space, you already had that interview with people and you feel that they are looking for diverse perspectives, I think you can create this kind of prompts. So you don't have to even do the step-in exercise with drawing. You can do it with turning on and off your camera. You can do it with even here physically, everybody can stand up and sit down. Yeah, we just add some kind of movement, or put your hands up, yeah, or or turn around. Turn around might be more difficult because not everybody got this kind of chair, but play with this idea. What about in the middle of the process? I am a great fan, and that's what Sociometry actually suggests, that we need to as well do the check-in at the beginning with the sociometric tools, in the middle and at the end. So what prompts, because the prompt is the clue here, can we offer group group supervision, which is already working, and we know that this is a middle check-in? What kind of prompts would you suggest there?
Show your emotion.
It could be with, it could be with emotions. We could do the drawings there. Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. Remember that here we've got a little bit of explanation as well. So it's not only that like there is a smiley face and you stand here, but we will have conversation about that. So, what is your emotional experience of this group so far? And we can put the icons, as Gerardo was showing us icons as well. And we ask people, tell me more about that. Because the step in sociometry is not only showing that I'm here, but we talk about that as well. So just to deepen, we see some kind of hidden elements of it. And it is probably a good space as well to be courageous as a group supervisor and address some difficult emotions. Yeah, that's the space where I feel you can get more courageous with prompts. Not only, maybe I will stop sharing because I'd rather see you, yeah? Like we can invite people, to be more courageous with prompts in terms of, I've been feeling so far that like I'm not growing as fast as I would like to. That's a prompt. Yeah, Leanne?
Yeah, I was thinking of a prompt to draw out how safe people feel in the group.
Yeah.
Like how present they feel or how activated are they. I'm not sure what the prompt would be. Something like,
I think that spectrogram could work better here,
Yeah.
The scale, they can show it on, because spectrogram is the scale. Prompt is like the spaces, and you offer at least 3 choices to people, yeah? So definitely safety, it's a wonderful thing to discuss in the middle check-in.
But I was thinking prompts might be easier because then they could identify with one of them as opposed to this. I mean, I think you could use both, but I was just like, I love this. This is fabulous. Thank you.
I do I'm a great fan of ugly cards, as I call them, because they are beautiful coaching cards, with beautiful pictures that you look at them and you feel inspired, but they are like ugly cards. And these are German personas, and I have them in digital version as well, meaning, I lost you now because I clicked something. Okay, you're back. These are not very nice, and there are different kind of faces here, and not all the faces are attractive. So I copied some of them. I've got the Miro board with them, and I especially picked the ones which are not the most beautiful. Like, some people are older, or some people are like, I don't know if you can see it, fuzzy. Oh, can you see it? It's not very clear image of a person and so on. So we can use the prompts like that as well. Images. However, I would encourage to use like not beautiful images for the meet check-in, like something which can actually trigger more authentic conversation, because that would be the space for people to be a little bit more assertive about their needs. And that would be a great starter for recontracting. The one thing which I strongly believe, and I've seen it, and I come from the culture which is really opinionated, yeah? Even we Polish people, at the beginning, we are nice and polite, and we say, yes, okay, let's do it. But after some time, we are angry that somebody is like, taking advantage of my space or needs or something. So that's why this mid check-in, be courageous with prompts. And you can use it exactly the same, either spectrogram or prompts with the learning space where you can discuss a little bit more about that at the end of the group. However, then I would encourage you to think about mostly learning question, so people can get into the self-gratitude space and to appreciate about like, I would like to, like, for example, the one prompt I like to use is, I would like to congratulate myself for courage I brought to this group supervision. Or another prompt is, I'm grateful to people here for their courage as well. So I use different kind of prompts, and you see that people struggle. Very often people say, I want to be both, I want to be in all of this, yeah? But something about celebration, gratitude, and learning. These are usually great prompts for the end of the session. And I know that we are approaching the end of this session, and honestly, this is just the teeny tiny element of the sociometry. If you got inspired today, if you got this virus, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to share some resources. As I said, mostly the best resources from my experience are actually not from the therapeutic work, but social work, because these are easier adaptable for us because they are not so heavily therapeutic. We don't have to have all of this background in order to understand and to help people to work with trauma and so on, so on. And they may be useful not only for this, because I strongly believe that we can use all of these tools with teams as well. Okay, so yeah.
So thank you very much, Inga. I wonder we ran out of time. I was going to ask if anybody has a question, but we ran out of time. So thank you very much, Inga, for your presentation. And you have the information. Do you want to put again your email at the end, just in case that somebody has a question? That was very interesting. Many ideas of things, practical things we can do when we're working with groups. So thank you very much for that, Inga. And I want to encourage people to send me, I put my email if you want to present. Please send me a note. You may present with other people. Linda, maybe you want to present with Frederick or somebody else from here that you know that you feel more comfortable sharing an experience. Can be an exercise, can be, it doesn't have to be like a formal presentation like Inga's presentation today. Can be a demonstration, can be anything you want. CN is for you too, everybody. I want to encourage people to just, this is a very friendly crowd. You don't have to worry about, here everybody wants to be supportive and learn from each other. So I want to encourage everybody to think about it. Everybody's invited. So just send me an email. We need to come up with a plan for the whole year. So please let me know if you are interested and available. Or you may know somebody who you may want to invite to this space. So with that in mind, just as an announcement, if anybody is available on Thursday at 8 a.m., Susie Warman is going to be doing a presentation. It's still okay for India, 8 a.m., I think it's 8:30 p.m. For some other countries, maybe too late to join. But Thursday morning, I'm sorry, it's going to be 9 a.m., not 8 a.m. for this Thursday because of the time change and how confusing it is. It's going to be at 9 a.m. in my Zoom ID. I am going to write it here in the chat box for everyone. It's free. It's part of the program. So we open the program, and Susie will be doing a demonstration of supervision. It's going to be individual supervision. And the Zoom ID is 603-061-4767. So here is the Zoom ID, is where we have most of our activity. For this program, it's a different one, just to keep IDs separate. But if you want to join us on Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and whatever time is based on that in other parts of the world. Inga, anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I would like to say that, Damian, you actually initiated many more other things, because Anushli is here, and Anushli is running a book club as well with coaching supervision. So there are so many different things here. So if you follow the Damian and his newsletter, you will learn that there are not only demos and connected with supervision and team coaching, but there are book clubs, and there are, different kind of events and so on. And even if you're not organizer per se yourself, but you are initiator, Damian. So it's something to take advantage of. Time zone might be a problematic one. This is usually the biggest challenge. Yeah.
So initially, if you're there and you want to put the information about the next book club, this is an opportunity to come and discuss different books around supervision. It's the last Monday of the month. And if you don't receive the newsletter, please send me an email. I'm going to put the email here again, so I can engage you and you be sure that you get. We have a newsletter for the America Coaching Supervision Network, one for the Asian Supervision Network, and then I have my own that I put everything there. So you get information there for everything. Okay, thanks everybody again. Have a good night, good morning, wherever you're in the world. Great seeing Inga. Great session. Thanks again for your support and
Thank you.
keep being
Yes,
of service
thank
to
you,
everybody.
Inga. It was just great. Fabulous. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Hope to see you at the conference. If you can make it at the conference, people are going to be great. Bye.
Much,
Damien. Thank you,
Thank you
Inga.
for coming.
Bye-bye.
Kunia, I didn't see you before. Great to have you here.
Sonia, I need to send you an email with my calendar. I'm sorry, I didn't send you my link to the calendar yet. Oh,
Still waiting, Inga.
I will send it, honestly. This is my to-do list. And
Like you
last
said.
week, Damian knows that last week I was a little bit off, horrible migraine, and I just had a backlog. But I remember about you. So you will get it tomorrow, because tomorrow I have half day of cleaning of my, email and everything.
It's okay. Thank you, Inga. Thank you, Damian.
Thank you. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.